welcome to my podcast. I'm Sam and my username is Betsymakes here on YouTube, also on Instagram and Ravelry and Facebook. I'm the Sewing Mistress 2 on Twitter, and I have a online shop called betsymakes.co.uk. This is podcast episode number 49, and it's where I chat about my craft in time, my knitting, my crochet and my sewing. I'll talk about a bit of family stuff as well, and also about my Betsy business, so there'll be a shop talk bit at the end. Thanks ever so much for joining me today. Thank you if you're a returning viewer, welcome back, and if you're new to this podcast, hello and thanks for watching. I'll start off, I think, with finished objects section. I haven't got a lot to share in this one. I haven't got any major finished things, but I will show you this. This is my Parma Jade tee. The pattern is actually called Parma Violet Tee and it's by Kate Webber. So it's a crochet top. I did show it last time when I recorded, and I was explaining how I wasn't really very happy with the fit of the garment, that it was quite loose and was falling off, a bit too big round the neck and falling off my shoulders and things. So a couple of people left comments on my last video and suggested going around the neck again with a couple of rows of crochet to bring it in, which I thought was an excellent idea, so I've done that. So I've added 2 rows of double crochet, which is the UK term. The US term is single crochet, and personally I think that single crochet is a better name for this particular stitch. It's basically the smallest stitch in crochet apart from the slip stitch. But yeah, so I've gone round 2 rows of that, and then I've also included a reverse double crochet, or crab stitch as it's called. So that's and I think it's brought the neck in nice. It it gives it a bit more structure, and it feels like it fits better rather than just flopping about on me. I was wondering whether to do the similar thing to the sleeve edge, but I'm not sure whether I will or not. I might leave that because that's fine. But yeah, so that's done. And then while I'm showing you that, I'll also talk about the coat hanger, because this is something I made a couple of weeks ago. The pattern is by Sandra, who's Cherry Heart and also my lovely friend, and she's got a pattern out for these crochet coat hangers covers. There's a couple of different designs within the pattern, so that's good. I did like this one with the stitch coming over the top. On the back it's quite plain, but yeah, I probably will make the other ones as well at some point, the other designs. I do find that, as well as being very pretty, having a crochet cover on a coat hanger does help the clothes stay in place and they're less likely to fall off, and particularly with something like this which has got quite a wide neck. So yeah, so I just purchased some wooden hangers from, I think from Amazon, and yeah, so I'm very pleased with that. It's a very sunny day here in Bedford, UK. It's beautiful actually. It's a lovely autumn day. The sun's shining, but I hope that means it's not too bright for you. But I am glad the sun is shining. So yeah, that's quite satisfying to get that done, so I should be able to wear that okay. Now I've made that slight adjustment, this makes it a bit more wearable. So I'm going to come on to works in progress and talk about the main ones that I'm concentrating on at the moment, because I've got quite a few things on the go as usual. This is my gemstone scarf, Now this hasn't grown, this section hasn't grown since the last time I recorded. It's still exactly the same as what it was before. Crochet motifs in 2 colours. Altogether I think I've got about 12 different colours I'm using. Like that. I'll show you the basket. Sorry about the sunshine. It's a beautiful sunny day today, and it does play havoc with my lighting. The Shepsies yarn that I'm using, the stone washed one, the colour names for the yarn are all gemstones. So for example, this one is lilac quartz, which is a really pretty colour, isn't it? That's gorgeous, I love that. Hence why I've called this project My Gemstone Scarf. So as I said, this section hasn't grown at all since the last time I recorded, but I have been working hard doing all my middles. So here's my bag of just the centres, the two, it's the 2 first rounds of the centre of the motif. So I've got a lovely little collection of them, and I'm working my way through making all the colours, all the middles of each colour first. So that's how I'm doing my workflow. Once I've got all of those made, I will then start on round 3 and 4, making sure that I distribute the colours as best I can. And on the 4th round, I do join as you go on the 4th round. I'll show you the back actually, because you might be able to see it a bit clearer. You can see where I've joined on the last row. So I'll be able to see the colour placement, and as I said, distribute the colours as evenly as I can do. So yeah, that's on the go, but I did want to mention it again because what occurred to me during the week was the motif I'm using for this, which I know off by heart, so I'm not looking at any pattern or anything, is one of my motifs, and I've used it already in this older project. This is the Hexagon Haze. Is that the right name for it? Yeah, the Hexagon Haze cowl. It's a pattern I released some time ago. It is a pattern for sale on my Ravelry store and also Love Crafts. So if you find me as Betsymakes on Love Crafts or Ravelry, you can go to my store where I'm selling patterns, and you'll be able to find this Hexagon Haze, and it's the same motif as I said. So if you wanted to use the motif for anything, you can just purchase this pattern, and you'll be able to convert it into something like this if you wanted to. But I just thought I'd share that with you because this is quite old and I had actually forgotten about it and forgotten that I'd used the motif already. Oh, this sunshine is really, it's very pretty. This is lovely and soft. I've just washed it actually, it smells a bit nicer. But yeah, so I just thought I'd share that with you, just in case you're interested in the actual crochet motif. The next work in progress I'll share with you is my Caravan of Love shawl, which is a design by Emma Potter of Potter and Bloom, and I have shared this with you before here on YouTube, but I thought I would just show you my progress because I have made some. If I turn it round that way, you'll be able to see my skull progress keeper, and you'll be able to see how much progress I've made. So I am enjoying this project a lot. I'm at the point now where I'm just doing the garter stitch striping until I pretty much finish my yarn off, and that's how much I've got left at the moment. But Emma does give a row count or a stripe count for this section, so I'll probably go to how many stripes she suggests and call it a day then. But I'm loving the drape of this shawl. It feels beautiful. It feels absolutely beautiful. I'm really enjoying the yarn, I'm enjoying the pattern. So like I say, the pattern is Caravan of Love by Emma Potter, and within the pattern you get a knitted version and a crochet version, which is great. And the yarn I'm using is, this one was gifted to me by Marta, and it's her hand-dyed yarn. The colour is called Follow the Yellow Brick Road, and she's Matushka Knits. And this one is Biff Sugar Yarns, and I purchased this to go with the gold, because I like the sort of grey beigey tone, but it's still got pops of colours in there. So yeah, really enjoying this. So I'm looking forward to finishing this project so I can wear the scarf. I'm planning to go to Nottingham Yarn Expo next weekend with my friend Sandra, who's Cherry Heart, and it would be great if I could get this finished so that I could wear it. We'll see how that goes, but it's good to give myself a deadline, I think. But if I don't get it finished, it's not the end of the world. I've got plenty of other knitted and crochet scarves that I could wear to keep me warm. So that's the progress on my Caravan of Love shawl. I have got another shawl on the go. I'll show you my bag actually. This is just a black canvas bag with the word knitting on it, and I purchased it from either Amazon or eBay, I can't remember. And because you personalise it, so you could just put somebody's name on it. I just asked them to put the word knitting. So this project is a scarf. I'll show you the pattern first. It's the Nurmalintu scarf, or shawl I should say, by Heidi Alander, and you can just about see it there. And the printed pattern. I'm using some of my own hand-dyed yarn. This is Harvest Moon on Perfect Sock, so it's a 4-ply fingering weight yarn. It's a superwash merino nylon blend, quite a standard sock yarn, but it's nice for other things as well, including shawls. And this is my fairy thread mohair, kid mohair and silk blend. Both of these are available in my online shop. And what I'm doing is knitting the body of the shawl, the body of the shawl in the merino nylon blend, which is looking great. You start off with just a few stitches and then you increase as it gets wider, and then you come to the lace section, which in the original design is done in the same yarn. You just carry on, but I decided to use the fairy thread because I just thought that looks really pretty, and I just love how the combination goes together. I'm going to come and hold it a bit closer to the camera there. And I just think it's lovely. So this is a great pattern, a lovely design, and this section certainly is really relaxing. I've caught it there, oh dear. I've snagged it there. That's a shame. Hopefully I'll be able to tidy that up. But yeah, this is such an enjoyable project. It's very easy going. This bit is just nice and relaxing. But obviously you need to concentrate when you come to the lace section to make sure you're doing it right. And I must admit I'd gone wrong a couple of times on this, and well, more than a couple, probably about 4 times, and pulled it back and picked up stitches to start again. And I made sure that when I was working on this section, I made sure I didn't have any distractions, I wasn't too tired, and I hadn't had a glass of wine or anything like that. But I just kept getting it wrong, and what am I doing? Why can't I get this right? And then it occurred to me what the problem might be, because when I first cast it on, I was using these needles, and these are bamboo. They're 3.5mm bamboo needles, which are lovely, and for this section, perfect. I enjoyed working with the yarn needle combination. I like the fact that they are, you know, they go well together, they're aesthetically pleasing. So I was enjoying that. But when I reached the lace section where I changed my yarn, I realised that I think the problem is that the yarn and the needles are just too close in colour. These bamboo needles just match too well with this colour yarn, which is cinnamon spice. So I think that's what the problem was, because I couldn't see my stitches very easily. And bear in mind, it's a fine. There's my length. That is. I've obviously pulled my stitches the other way around, but it's a fine yarn. So wrapped on these needles, it's just you can't really see it. So I think I was inadvertently knitting 2 together, and my stitch count wasn't right. And you know what it's like when you're doing lace, even if you're one stitch short, it throws the whole pattern out. So that was no good. So once that occurred to me, I think that's the problem. I switched to these needles, which a nice green colour, and you can see your stitches easier because it's not the same colour as the yarn. And these are Knit Pro Zing, and they're 3.5mm as well. I kept the same size obviously, but yeah, I just found that I was getting on a bit better. I still made a mistake actually the other morning, but I think I sorted it out. I hope I did anyway. So I've got a couple more rows to go on that lace section, and then I'm back to the garter stitch section, which will be nice and relaxing. So I think there's 3 sections of lace altogether. Yeah, the final one being the border. So that's a nice project in the sense that you've got your nice relaxing section, you've got your garter stitch section which you can do while watching TV, and it doesn't matter if you get interrupted because it's easy to know where you are. And then it's got the lace section which you need to concentrate on, or certainly I do, and so it keeps my mind occupied. So perfect project really. So excuse me, I'll keep you updated on my progress on that shawl. So the next thing I thought I'd share with you is some new yarn that I purchased recently. Myself and two of my children, my two youngest, we went over to Paris during the school half term for a few days. We caught the Eurostar over and we stayed in the Bercy region of Paris, which was lovely and quite easy because the hotel was right near the metro station, so it was easy to get around. We arrived sort of about 3:30 in the afternoon. So once we got settled into our hotel, which was really nice, we went out and we went to a restaurant to get some food. The restaurant is called Restaurant Venezia, which is quite apt really because we'd spent our summer holiday in Italy and we did visit Venice during that holiday, so that was quite good, and they were very friendly in there and they served really lovely food at a reasonable price. I got slightly confused because the waiter was speaking English, French and Italian, and so I got confused about how to say thank you in what way, so that was quite funny. But yeah, we had a lovely time there, and once we'd finished eating we jumped on the metro and went up to the Eiffel Tower, and it was evening time, it was dark, so it was all lit up and it was really magical. It was lovely. So we spent a little bit of time there and then went back to our hotel. The next day we went back to the Eiffel Tower and we caught a boat because I'd pre-booked some tickets for a boat trip up the River Seine, and that was nice. So we sailed up there, looked at the sights as we went round the island that the Notre Dame is on, and looked at the building work there. It's got all the scaffolding where they're reconstructing the building after the fire that tragically burnt it, which was a bit sad, but it was interesting to see what they were doing, and all the other sites and the information that it was a recorded tour guide. But that was good, that was nice. Once we came off the boat trip we went up to queue for ages to get on the Eiffel Tower. This is something we've done before, but we really still wanted to do it, so we did queue for quite a while. And but we got there and we went up the steps on the first section, and then the last bit right up to the top we took the lift, as you do. It was very busy, but you get some lovely views from the top, and yeah, we had a lovely time being there and being very touristy. The next day we got up early and took a train to Chesney, where Euro Disney is based. Once again, we've been there before, but it's a favourite place. And we went into the park. We got there about 10 in the morning, and we went into the park and went on different rides. We queued to see Rapunzel, which was quite traumatic because as we went into the Princess Pavilion we were told it was a 90-minute wait, but it was actually 2.5 hours, so it was a lot longer than what was said. And it was quite difficult. The naughtiest child in history was in the queue in front of us. So yeah, it was quite painful if you ask me. However, when we did reach the front and we went in to see Rapunzel, she was an absolute delight. She made my little girl feel very special, and she said that my son was Flynn Rider, and yeah, and he enjoyed that as well. So it was worth it in the end. well, they considered it worth it in the end. We were there for a few minutes, but yeah, it was nice. And yeah, we spent the rest of the day there. We saw the fireworks and illuminations that they start around about 10 o'clock in the evening, and so we watched those. They were amazing. And of course, being October, it's the run up to Halloween when we went, so they had lots of pumpkins, and part of the illuminations was the villains, the Disney villains. So that was really good, and we had a great time. We caught the train back to the hotel. We got back quite late, but it's quite easy to negotiate your way around. The metro is brilliant, and yeah, the R&R, I think it's the R&R train, the mainline train up to Chelsea, that's quite easy to do and sort out, not too expensive. So that was quite a late night, so we didn't get up too early the next day. The next day was our last day, which was the Thursday. So we had a slower morning. We were having breakfast in the hotel, and the breakfast was brilliant. It was buffet style. It had everything you could want for breakfast, so that was great. And so I said to the kids, oh, is it okay if we go to this particular yarn shop that I'd like to visit here in Paris? I'd attempted to go last year, but it didn't work out. It wasn't practically possible. So I said to the kids, is it okay if we take a trip, just 1 or 2 stops on the metro and then a short walk? And we ended up at La Bien-Aimée. So I'll show you the card there. There's a little map on this one. You can see where it is. And yeah, I first became aware of La Bien-Aimée as a yarn dyer when I visited the Edinburgh Yarn Festival a few years ago, and I did buy a few bits from the stand they had at the festival then, and I've always fancied the idea of going to the shop in Paris itself, and it's a beautiful little shop. It is very tiny, it's not big at all, but it's full of the most gorgeous yarns. The majority are the La Bien-Aimée make, but there are a few other brands as well, French yarns in there. The kids came with me. They were sitting on the little sofa that they have in the shop, and they were as good as gold and let me have time to mooch around to see what to buy. I wasn't going to go mad, although, you know, you were spoilt for choice because there's so much lovely stuff in there. But I thought I might get some DK weight yarn because I've got a lot of fingering weight, and I thought I'd go for something different. So I bought these 2 skeins. So we've got the semi-solid turquoise here, and then a happy coupling, I think, with this turquoise and grey speckle yarn. So like I say, they're DK weight. This one is called Vesper Graffiti. And this one, I'm really not sure how to pronounce the name of this. It's... I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I'll just show it there. So hopefully you can see that okay. But yeah, I purchased these. I thought they were lovely. Really like the colour. I was just attracted to it. It takes a little time to decide when there's so many lovely things to choose from. But I kept coming back to these, so I thought that must mean that they were the ones to bring home with me. It was a lovely experience. The staff that work in the shop are really nice, and there's a lovely French lady who we managed to converse, even though my French is appalling and her English, whilst better than my French, was fairly limited. But she was so friendly and so kind, and we were connecting over the yarn anyway. And there was also a lovely American girl that was working out the back, and she came out to help me, and she was fantastic. And it was just a really lovely, positive experience. I really enjoyed visiting the shop, and purchasing the yarn. I also got a tote bag. I'll show you the tote bag there. And I thought what I might do is find some pretty printed cotton and make a lining for it, just to make it a little bit more robust really. So I thought that might be an idea. So I think I'll see what I can find, something to match it nicely. I can imagine a pretty Liberty print, actually, come to think of it. So yeah, that'd be something to do at some point in the future. What I'm going to make with this lovely yarn, I'm not quite sure yet. I'm thinking probably a knitted cowl actually, but I haven't completely decided. But yeah, that was a really lovely visit to a beautiful little yarn shop in Paris. So we had a lovely day, and after that, once we'd got some food, we were heading off back up to Gare du Nord to catch the Eurostar back to St Pancras, and then we can connect there directly to Bedford where we lived. So it was a fantastic few days in Paris, a lovely way to spend the half term, and I really enjoyed it. It was wonderful. So I'd like to talk a bit about Betsy Business now, if that's okay. The first thing that I want to tell you about, which I'm really excited about, is the fact that I finally got my own website up and running, and it's live at betsymakes.co.uk. Up till now I've been selling my project bags and dyed yarn on Etsy, and whilst that's a great place to sell things like that, I decided it was time to move on to my own site, to grow up a bit. I do rate Etsy. I do recommend selling bits and pieces if you're into crafts on Etsy, because I do think it's a good platform, and they do look after you and make everything quite easy. So I do rate it, and I think it's a great place to find crafty bits, but I just felt that it was the time to move on to my own website, and I think, I'm hoping it'll be cheaper for me to do it that way rather than pay the Etsy fees, which I can pass on to you because I won't be putting my prices up all the time. So that's really exciting. It's taken me a while to sort out the website and design it. It's much more work than I realised, and it's taken a while. So hopefully it's all right. It will evolve and change. There's other things that I could add, and obviously I could tweak things here and there. But you know, it's there. So if you fancy having a look, it's betsymakes.co.uk. and you're more than welcome to have a mooch around and tell me what you think. So I am selling on there. I will be doing shop updates, and I'll let you know via Instagram. So if you're interested in buying my bits and pieces, and you're interested to know when I'm putting up new stock, do follow me on Instagram, where I'm Betsy Makes as well, because I do announce shop updates and things like that on there. I will talk about the 12 Days of Christmas box sets. So just to recap, back in the summer I was listing the 12 Days of Christmas sets on my Etsy shop, as I was selling on there at the time, and I was really delighted that all the listings sold out. And the idea behind it is that you get 12 individually wrapped items made by me, a mixture of minis, yarn minis, yarn skeins, and project bags and bits and pieces that I've sewn. So the idea is that you open the first one on the 25th of December, Christmas Day, and then you open the further 11 each day through the 12 days of Christmas. And you don't know exactly what you're getting. So within the listing I did describe what you can be expected to get, but there was no pictures or anything. So the surprise is the colours and the different fabrics I've used. So I've really enjoyed doing this project. I've really enjoyed thinking about it and making the bits and pieces that go in the boxes, and I was really pleased to send them all off on Wednesday this past week and get them in the post. So I know that the UK ones have arrived. A couple of people have already told me that they've received their box, and the ones that are on their way to the US will obviously take longer, but hopefully within the next couple of weeks the people over in America will receive their boxes as well. And I'd just like to say a big thank you to the customers that ordered them. Obviously it's a pre-order, so you pay up in advance, and I always think that's a real compliment that you guys have forked out your hard-earned cash in advance for a pre-order that I've done, and I really hope you like what you get, and I certainly enjoyed making them. So thank you very much for taking part in that. I may be doing a summer version. I've been thinking about doing a similar thing to the run up to midsummer. So that's just an idea at the moment, but yeah, that's something that I may be doing this summer. So stay tuned and I'll let you know a bit more about that as and when. So in the meantime though, being November, we'll turn in our thoughts to Christmas, and I'm listing some Christmas project bags, so I will show you those. So I've got this beautiful one with the robins on, lovely robin print. I've got the felt balls making the zip pull there. I've got the lining in the red with the script on there, which is the same as what's used at the bottom. So there's that one. These are my zipper project bags. I will cut that end off. I've been doing a lot of drawstring lately, so I wanted to do zips again, particularly because of the little zipper pull that I put on there. So that's nice. Size wise, if I compare it to the bag I use for my Caravan of Love shawl, this is a bag I made ages ago, and it's much more dumpy than these ones. As you can see, this size is quite a bit taller. It's got the box bottom, so there is actually plenty of room in there for either a sock project or a shawl, and they're fairly roomy actually. So there's that one, and then I've got, this is cute. So I've got this one with the little stars on the bottom and the print of the presents and the tree and the stockings and the reindeer on there, which is sweet. I've got the zipper pull there, and it's got the stars inside. So that's a cute one. Oh, this is another cute one. This is the birds and the bird houses, little robins, both in the main print and the smaller print underneath, which I've used inside. So that's nice, a lovely turquoise zip there, which I love. So I've got a few of those in as well. This is quite a classic Christmas one. I like this one a lot actually. So I've got the holly berries on the stripe and the candy cane print underneath. Got the zipper pull there, and the candy cane is inside. There's that one. And then finally for this Christmas update, I've got this one, which is a bit different. So I've got the grey, actually that I've used canvas for the base on this one. And then the silver Christmas tree, I've used grey and white for the felt balls. And there's a nice abstract design inside. And whether the camera's picking it up or not, I'm not sure. This one needs a press, I think. But the fabric is very slightly metallic. So you've got a slight metallic sheen on there, which is really nice. So they'll be listed quite soon. I plan to make some notion pouches and possibly DPN holders as well in those fabrics if I've got enough left. I don't have a lot of wastage. When I buy the fabric, I try and make sure that I'm only buying enough for what I want to make, so I don't have a lot of wastage. So yeah, I'll use every last little bit. So yeah, they'll be in the shop soon, and as I said, it's a good idea to check out my Instagram feed, because that's where I'll talk about shop updates, etc. And the other thing I just want to mention in regards to Betsy Business is these new plastic mailing bags I'm using. They're plain grey, which is a shame. I do like the pretty printed ones, but I wanted to be responsible for plastic usage. And so if you can see on there the statement about the fact that it is much kinder to the environment. It contains a minimum of 50% consumer recycled waste, and it said, should this bag end up anywhere other than a landfill site, you can be safe in the knowledge that over a short period of time the bag will start to degrade and biodegrade. After the mailing bag is discarded, the reverte additive is activated by natural sunlight, and this accelerates catalytic reaction to break bonds at a molecular level and introduce oxygen into the polymer chain, which in essence makes the bag available for biodigestion. The bag would then be safely biodegraded into the environment. So that got all very scientific at that stage, didn't it? But I wanted to show you because I think it's important to be more accountable for the amount of plastic we use. And whereas I can't claim to be completely plastic free, I am making efforts both in my business and in my personal life to reduce the amount of plastic that I purchase and use and therefore want to throw away. And you know, every little helps. So that's everything for Betsy Business. Third time lucky. I just wanted to take a minute to say thank you to all the viewers of my last video who left comments supporting me and offering me kind words, because it was pretty obvious from my recording that I wasn't feeling very good. I was feeling quite down in the dumps. So thanks for the support, thanks for all your sympathy. I wasn't fishing for sympathy, but equally it was really nice to know that you lot care and you were offering me support and kind words. So I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who did leave a comment, and I thought I'd share with you my bee book. Let me just put my glasses on a minute, because the reason I want to share this with you is because I absolutely love this book. I love bees. I totally identify with bees, and this is something that brings me a lot of joy and comfort. It's written by Jo Byrne, who was selling these at the Woburn Honey Festival that I attended not that long ago. It was in September actually, and she was kind enough to sign the book. And it's about everything to do with bees, literally. So the life cycle, the plight of the bees, the bee cause, bees in myth and legend, bees in art and literature, And there's even a chapter about spare a thought for the wasps, so there's even that chapter in there. And there's just beautiful bits and pieces in this book. I love this page actually, showing all different types of bees there that you can look at. It's lovely. And there's some gorgeous photographs in here as well. It's beautiful photography. And lovely illustrations. I just love that page. So I think it's why it fell open at that page, because I've looked at it a lot. And I just find that it's such a comforting thing to read, and it brings me joy, and it heals my soul. And I just thought it would be nice to read one of the poems from this book, because I just think it's lovely. I'd never heard this poem before. The writer is Khalil Gibran, and it's an extract from The Prophet. And whilst I've heard of that writing before, I didn't know this part existed. So if it's okay, I'll read it to you. And now you ask in your heart, how shall we distinguish that which is good in pleasure from that which is not good? Go to your fields and your gardens. You shall learn that it is the pleasure of the bee to gather honey of the flower. But it is also the pleasure of the flower to yield its honey to the bee. For to the bee a flower is a mountain of life, and to the flower a bee is a messenger of love. And to both bee and flower, the giving and the receiving of pleasure is a need and an ecstasy. People of Orphalese, be in your pleasures like the flowers and the bees. And that was published in 1923, and I think it's a beautiful poem, and I just wanted to share that with you, my lovely friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon. In the meantime, take care. Bye.
Catch up and crochet. Come here, let's catch up and crochet. Come here, let's catch up and crochet.